Are there any policies that you guys really care about that Trump is doing that you're against?
Not on top of my head.
No. You just hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the felony records.
Do you guys know what the charges were?
I know a few of them were for being a pedophile.
Really? Okay, which ones?
I can't think off the top of my head, but I know he not sexually, but like portrayed his own child sexually towards crowds.
So one of his felonies is being a pedophile.
Yes.
You did study up on this specifically to do this, and I think that's very unfair.
What's up, YouTube? It's your Huckleberry here, back with another Kaitlin Bennett video reaction. Man, she really finds the cream of the crop out there. I tell you what. Yeah, I don't want to, talk too much before we get into this, but as you can see from the beginning, and the purple-haired person there at the beginning that doesn't have any idea all those trumped-up charges, pun intended, on our president were. There was nothing remotely close to being a pedo in there. It was all just made up situations of the exact same thing, with inflating the price or the value of different real estate locations in New York, which Mr. Wonderful even said himself that everybody that sells real estate in New York does that. And it's completely asinine to just go after Trump for something that everybody else does. I mean, when you're trying to sell something, you try to make it seem like it's as valuable as possible, and then you go through that whole back and forth and negotiation process to make the sale. But the education of these people, yeah, they think they know what they're talking about, and they don't. They have no clue that all 33 of those charges were essentially the exact same thing. Nothing like so devastating, and certainly nothing close to what Purple Hair just tried to accuse him of. Anyway, guys, let's get into the video and let's see what Kaitlin has for us.
Hi, ladies. If you could grade Donald Trump on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, what would you give him?
One.
Okay, all right. Thank you for sticking to the script there. People will go 0 or negative 30. I'm like, that wasn't an option. Why would you give him a 1?
I just don't think he's a good guy at all.
Okay.
I agree with her answer.
Yeah, not a good guy.
I feel like he doesn't understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Particularly on what issue?
On a lot of issues, I think he's spending way too much money on deporting people.
Okay.
Like, yes, Biden did it as well, so did Obama, but like, we're spending way too much money on that. And also spending too much money on a ballroom when people with SNAP benefits are like literally, they don't have food.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So the ballroom is privately funded, has nothing to do with taxpayer or SNAP benefits. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, it's completely privately funded, so it has nothing to do with tax dollars or government shutdown or anything like that. So just a little bit of tidbit information there. Do you know how much we're spending on deporting illegal immigrants?
Not off the top of my head, but I have done my research on it.
Okay. But it's too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Do
don't-
you? Go ahead.
I don't think it should be our main focus right now.
Okay. Well, it was one of his #1 campaign promises
Right.
to secure the border and deport illegal immigrants. Do you think he's kept with that promise?
I think he has kept that promise.
Yeah.
I didn't vote for him, so.
Yeah, of course. But he has kept the promise of doing it. Do you know how much money illegal immigrants in the interior of the United States cost the taxpayer every year?
No, but I also know how much they support our economy.
What is that number?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't have a paper in front of me.
Yeah. So it's about $37 billion that they contribute into taxes every year. But they cost the taxpayer about $150 billion, and some estimates raise that up to nearly $300 billion every year. So they aren't giving into the system as much as they're taking away. It's actually draining some of our system. So when you talk about illegal immigrants being deported costing too much, I actually think where the truth lies with the cost of illegals, and we're talking about that situation, it might be keeping them here and funding them to take advantage of our social welfare and our programs. Would you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't. So what happens to all of the farmers who are losing their workers?
Yeah. So they would have to then hire Americans or illegal immigrants and stop paying them slave wages. Do you think it's fair for a corporation to pay a brown person that came from Mexico pennies when an American citizen would get paid about probably $20 an hour? Because I don't support slave wages. Do you?
I don't, but
Okay.
I also think that while I don't agree with how they are being paid, they still came here because it's better from where they were at. They're still making more money than they were if they were back in their homeland.
Yeah.
While I don't agree that it's still too low,
Yeah.
but it also affects farmers.
Yeah, it does affect farmers, and farmers know that, and that's why they hire illegal immigrants and they pay them under the table, and then those illegal immigrants aren't paying taxes. So while everyone else, we're paying taxes, they're actually contributing more to draining our funds on the social welfare programs than they are paying into them. So they use them, but they don't pay into them, and
Purple hair girls she's struggling there with just like comprehension and focus. And that's kind of the problem. Like, you're just kind of zoned out until it's your turn to spit your points. Like we saw with the older woman in the other video where she just kept talking and didn't want to listen. She'd walk away and then she'd come back to talk more, but she wouldn't want to listen. I might be a bit presumptuous here, but I think based on our intro and what we already seen with what she's going to say, it's a shame that she's not like trying to absorb any kind of knowledge here, because it might actually be an epiphany for her if she was.
they send their money outside.
How are they using the welfare advantages and
Yeah, so public housing. They take advantage of public housing. They go into emergency rooms because they can't get a doctor because they're not legal citizens, and then they never pay their bills. And then that's funded by subsidies by the government. It's also education. They take advantage of education here, especially if you're in California. You can get a driver's license. More importantly, they love it when immigrants come into, I'm talking about the Democrats, because then they can do a census in their state and then have more seats in Congress based on the population, and they don't differentiate between illegal and legal. Do you think that a state's seats in Congress should only be determined by legal immigrants, or are illegal immigrants okay to be counted?
I don't think illegal immigrants should be counted.
All right, well then there's one reason to deport them.
Well, I don't think that necessarily we need to deport them. I think we need to refigure out the census and how they do that.
Okay, that's
I'll give this girl on the left some credit. She's staying composed, and she's definitely coming with some stuff that keeps her grounded and somewhat logical. She's coming with a little bit of logic, and she wants to make things better.
that's a fair thing. So you want them to stay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they're supporting our economy.
But I just told you they're literally not supporting our economy. They're draining our economy.
So I would like to ask, where are your sources for that information?
Americans for Immigration Reform. You could go there and they lay out all of these numbers for you.
I will look that up and I'll look into it.
Yeah, okay. What should the punishment be for someone who crosses the border and enters illegally?
I think first check their records.
What should the punishment be? Are there punishments, or do we just let people come over and stay and they don't have any consequences?
I wouldn't say give a punishment. I think definitely check their records, see who they are and all that,
Okay.
and let them, if they want to stay, then let them go through a process or something.
Okay. What do you think? Should there be any consequences for someone entering illegally and subverting our laws?
No,
Why not?
because they're all just people.
Yeah. Do you think
because they're known as illegal don't mean they should be
Right.
illegal?
Do you think people who break laws, especially national laws and immigration laws, they shouldn't be held accountable for their crimes?
What about Donald Trump?
What immigration law did he break?
I'm not talking about immigration laws. If you're just talking about criminals, how many felonies
There
does
we
he
go.
have? 30, 34, 36?
Yeah. What consequences would you like to see for Donald Trump?
I'd like him taken out of presidency. I don't really like the fact that a felon is our president. I think it's embarrassing.
Yeah. So you would have preferred Kamala Harris?
Yeah, that's who I voted for.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything that she did, but she's still a lot better than Donald Trump.
There's still things that we don't agree with.
Of
but-
course. Yeah, I don't agree with Donald Trump. I think that he needs to up those deportation numbers. I think he needs to halt HB1 visas and pretty much ban immigration from the United States for a good at least 5 years. So I agree with you there. I don't support everything that he does. But It's just interesting. If you have something to say, you don't have to whisper it. If you like to go, you can just say that too.
I'm good.
Okay. You good? Are there any policies that, I know hers is like immigration. Are there any policies that you guys really care about that Trump is doing that you're against?
Not on top of my head.
No. You just hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the felony records. Yeah. That's
Well, we
what
can
got
talk
me.
about that actually. Do you know who went after him to prosecute him? What the prosecutor's name was?
No.
Specifically in New York, it was Alvin Bragg, and he specifically ran for election wanting to charge Donald Trump with felonies. The same things, the same crimes that he upped as a felony has not been used as a felony. They've always been lowered to misdemeanors, but when it came to Donald Trump, he promised to run and prosecute him as a felon when it has not, those crimes have not been used as felonies for decades. But when it was Donald Trump, it almost seems like targeted political means, doesn't it?
But they were still felonies, weren't they not?
Not for anyone else, just Trump.
So if that was true, then how, in decades past, like you said, how could they have been charged as felonies?
So the girl, the purple, doesn't understand because her misguided belief that like what those charges were. You could see she even looked over. She was like, "What?" You know, and again, like she's not even paying attention now. She's like distracted when this could be enlightening for her if she would just pay attention and absorb in content that Caitlin's like telling her.
If they are not actually felonies.
Yeah, so he upped it to a felony with everybody else got to have a misdemeanor for those crimes. Well, let me ask you, what are the charges?
Well, there's 34 to 36 of them.
What are they?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
Because
Do you guys know what the charges were?
I know a few of them were for being a pedophile.
Really? Okay, which ones?
I can't think off the top of my head, but I know he not sexually, but like portrayed his own child sexually towards crowds.
And he got charged with a felony.
Not a felony, but it was very obvious that it was built off of other felonies that he had been charged with.
You a full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Okay. I would love to learn more about that. Could you go into more depth?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
I look into it here and there.
Okay, so one of his felonies is being a pedophile.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, that's very interesting. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful, beautiful day out here.
Can I do a recommendation for you?
Yeah.
You know, I think it would be great if you set up a tent and, advertised what you were doing here so that people could come up and, they could have their sources and they could have better prepared answers so that we can have a real conversation.
I think I love that idea. I love the tent. We should get a tent at the Lakeland Farmers Market. Do you think Jolie Townsend would allow that?
I'm not sure. I just moved here.
Yeah, I don't think she would. But I think that if you're going to claim something, that you should have the statistics with you and you should be able to back up with proof what you're saying. And if you don't know the proof or anything, it's okay to just say that and just say this is my...
I hope she doesn't walk away without telling Purple Hair what those felonies actually were. Because this would be the perfect situation. Otherwise, that person will never know the truth and will just continue to believe that he is a felon because of pedophilia. Trying to work with the algorithm here, guys. Yeah, please, Kaitlin, don't let her walk away without telling her what's up.
My opinion, but I don't think people should come into a conversation with packets of information when they're just having a dialogue in the middle of the farmers market.
Isn't that what you did?
I don't have any.
Right,
I don't have any papers.
You don't have anything in front of you, but you did study up on this specifically to do this, and I think that's very unfair to the people who are here because we're here to enjoy our day, and we're not really thinking about all of these statistics, all of this stuff. I think, while I don't agree with what Charlie Kirk was saying, I think what he was doing was a very good idea. He allowed people to come up with their opinions and with everything backed up.
Yeah.
And
How am I doing anything different?
You are not advertising that you're going to be here, as far as I know.
Why do I need to advertise that I'm going to be somewhere in order to have a dialogue with you?
Because I think it's important for people to have that same advantage as you, because you knew you were going to be here, you knew what you were going to talk about, so you were prepared for this.
I actually asked you what you would grade Donald Trump, and I asked you why so, and you gave me the topic of discussion. I was not prepared. You did not come to me and say, be prepared with this, is
Good
what I'm going to
point.
say.
No.
Yeah, I asked you, you gave me your topic, and we discussed it based on what you wanted to talk about. I didn't know what you were going to say.
Yeah, but
That's what I said in the other video. She's very approachable and neutral in her start to the conversation, and she doesn't go right up on somebody like antagonizing or just throwing out like the topic at them. She'll let them like dictate the conversation and then give them very substantial feedback that they either have trouble processing or just don't want to process at all.
knowing Donald Trump and knowing his policies, you do have a background on what you were going to talk about.
Yeah, I think dialogue is okay to happen, whether or not it's announced, and no one needs to have a packet full of facts. I just think people should know what they believe in and be able to back it up with proof. And if you don't, then that's okay.
I think that's true, but saying that, oh, you don't know what you're talking about just because you don't remember off the top of your head of exactly what you want to say, I don't think that's necessarily fair.
Well, I didn't say that to you.
No, but that's definitely what you implied.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah. You know, I got a camera pointed in my face too, so.
Yeah. Do you feel like maybe you don't know what you're talking about?
No, I think I do know what
then
I'm
you should be good. Be secure in your opinions and how we talked here today, and you're good.
I am secure, but I just don't think it's very fair of what you're doing.
Okay. I don't think it's fair to lie about people with no proof, calling Trump a pedophile, and then saying that illegal aliens are contributing to the economy and that they should have no consequences or anything like that. So thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day at the farmer's market. Next.
She tried to address the purple hair being wrong. Purple hair wasn't even paying attention. I think she heard it, but I don't think it processed that she was calling her pretty much a liar, because that's what she is. Just we'll call it misinformed. But so yeah, she loosely addressed it there, but I guess in her defense, like that person's not even listening. They are pretty much beyond any kind of help at this point in their life. Maybe there's some progression in the right way, like down the road. But right now, it's just like Trump bad, media said this, that kind of attitude.
Time you go to the farmer's market, make sure you have that packet of information in case someone wants to ask you a simple question.
Right.
Okay, have a good day.
All right, guys, so there we go. Another video down with Kaitlin on the streets doing some hard work for us. This kind of goes in tandem with those naturalization questions, where she goes around on the beach or whatnot asking people questions. I got some reactions to some of those too. Maybe I'll put the Kaitlin Bennett playlist together at the end here where you can click it and see some of that. But it kind of goes hand in hand with that, where people just aren't educated enough to understand what they're talking about. Those videos are a little bit more like tongue-in-cheek and fun because it's real basic questions that like people just have no idea about, like simple math and geography and things like that. Here it's a little bit different because they're just speaking points that they hear on your mainstream media or in their ecosystem, their echo chamber of like-minded individuals that just keep saying stuff, and so they automatically believe like, oh, that's what it is. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the commentary. I hope you liked the reactions. Hopefully, we'll see you again next time. You're a daisy if you do. And until then, I'm your Huckleberry. You could call me Huck. Peace!